Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deadly Duo Chronicles podcast. I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Heather.
And on today's murder menu is
William Devin Howell.
But first, some trigger warnings.
Murder and foul language.
Foul language definitely possible. Viewer discretion is advised. William Devin Howell, born February 11th, 1970, was convicted of murdering 7 women in 2003. He is one of the most prolific serial killers in Connecticut history. In November of 2017, while already serving a 15-year bid for manslaughter, he was also then sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences in Connecticut. Meaning, basically, he was sentenced to 360 years in prison. Should have got the death penalty, but we'll go with it. Which he is currently serving at Cheshire Correctional Institution.
The victims were identified as 7 women, including 1 transgender woman, Janice Roberts. Their bodies were discovered in 2 locations, including an area behind a shopping plaza on Hartford Road in New Britain, referred to by Howell as his garden. The person who discovered his principal body dump at the start of 2005. By the time the remains were mostly skeletal and had been looking for an area to hunt in, the ground is wooded and marshy, and inaccessible by car, which delayed the investigation and the recovery of the victims.
Victim 1, Melanie Ruth Camillin. I don't even think I'm saying that right, but we're just going to go with it. 29-year-old Melanie, a mother of 2 from Seymour, went missing on January 1st of 2003. She had recently been living in Waterbury. Southern accent ain't going to get that one out. And was last seen in the area with 2 men. Melanie was known to have a drug addiction and would regularly disappear for long periods of time. Her body was discovered buried behind a New Britain shopping mall and was identified in 2015. So cops probably dropped the ball because she was a drug addict.
Janice Roberts, a 44-year-old transgender woman from New Britain. She was last seen alive on June 18th, 2003. When observed getting into Howell's blue van outside a stop and shop in Weatherfield. She was reported missing on June 24th. Howell later told the informant that he tried to engage Roberts in a sexual act, and when he realized she was a transgender woman, he strangled her.
So basically, he went to go cough a pill and was like, this is not what I'm looking for. Doesn't mean she deserved to die, but this is why we don't pick up random people.
Agreed.
You get more than what you bargained for. Diane Cusack?
Yeah.
Diane, a 55-year-old who lived in New Britain, disappeared in basically sometime in 2003. Police last had contact with her on July 9th during a landlord-tenant dispute. Her remains were found behind the New Britain shopping mall, so basically Howell's garden, in 2007. She was identified in 2011. Cusack, who had a drug abuse problem, had been out of contact with her family for years and has never been reported missing. So, because of her drug addiction, nobody basically knew she was missing. That's fucked up.
Right.
Well, that's not right.
On July 30th.
Nielsa Marendi? We're just going to go with Nielsa.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't want to say the last name wrong.
Don't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
So Nilsa was his next victim. On July 31st, 2003, a woman told police that her sister, 33-year-old Nilsa, had not been heard from in 7 days. Nilsa's boyfriend, a convicted drug dealer, was immediately a suspect.
Blame it on the dealer.
In her disappearance, but was ultimately cleared after passing a polygraph test, which I didn't think this was admissible. But
they're not, but he wasn't convicted or anything,
gotcha,
so
okay.
technically taking the polygraph test and then passing it ruled him out as a suspect.
Oh, gotcha, okay. The sister told the police that Nilsa was a heroin user and sex worker who was living in a motel in Wethersfield. Along with her boyfriend, he told investigators that he and Nilsa had allowed Howell to stay overnight in their room and that he last saw Nilsa at 2:30 a.m. on July 25th, 2003. When she got into Howell's van, Nilsa's body was found on April 28th, 2015, along with the bodies of 3 other women.
So basically it kind of sounds like boyfriend pimped, girlfriend out, girlfriend never came back home.
Yeah.
So he's guilty of being a piece of shit. He's not guilty of murder. Marilyn Gazzella. Marilyn, a 26-year-old woman, and of course a mother of 2, went missing in 2003 after she left home in Waterbury. So he basically had a comfortable hunting ground. Her body was found behind the West Farms shopping mall in Farmington, Connecticut on April 28th of 2015. So basically he didn't stray too far from the hunting ground.
No, he stayed in the same area.
Yeah, he stayed pretty familiar. He didn't go to unfamiliar territory.
He definitely stayed where he was comfortable,
to say the least. So Joy Martinez.
All right, Joy Martinez, 23, went missing on October 10th, 2003.
He moves fast.
He does. But was not reported missing until March 29th of 2004.
Damn.
Speculation arose when she did not show up for her birthday party. She was last spotted in her hometown on East Hartford, where she lived with her mother in high school. She had been a track star, and at the time of her disappearance was unemployed. Her remains were some of the first to be recovered from the shopping plaza area in 2007, and she was identified in 2013.
So she must not have been very... Well, she's 23, so she wasn't very old at all. His victimology is all over the place, though.
It really is.
Like, first you got mommy issues, and then you've got no age preference.
Yeah, he really doesn't have it.
So basically, I think he was just taking victims of opportunity. Not saying because you do drugs or you're struggling to do drugs, that makes you a victim of opportunity. It just makes your judgments clouded a little bit more. So, like, yeah. Mary Jane Minyard. Mary, 40-year-old mom with 2 babies from Waterbury, a former addict. So she was in recovery. She had turned her life around to become a substance abuse counselor. She went missing in New Britain in October 2003, and her remains were found behind the shopping plaza in 2007. So he has a pretty decent dumping ground. It's just, was this shopping mall abandoned? Because clearly they didn't have cameras. Because he was able to get in and get out without being seen.
Howell later told his cellmate that there was a monster inside of him and described himself as a sick ripper, which led Howell to being referred to as the Sick Ripper.
tell me you want to be a Jack Ripper without telling me you want to be a Jack Ripper.
Right. By some media outlets. He also told the inmate during a card game that he kept one of the women's bodies in his van for 2 weeks because it was too cold outside to bury her. He slept next to her, and he called the victim his baby. That is sick. Howell later cut off the tips of her fingers and
dismembered
her bottom jaw and disposed of the body parts in Virginia.
And how this motherfucker didn't get life? You gonna give him life in prison? Dismantle his jaw and tell me how he likes it. Slept too cold. He chose to kill her, and then wants to cry because it's too cold to dispose of her body. Like,
yeah,
where does that make any sense? That don't. What?
I just
like how are you
this
going?
This dude is just he's all over the place.
Yeah, victimology is all over the place. You got that, and then you want to name yourself the Sick Ripper, like, bro.
He just
what?
You're not that good of a serial killer if you literally have to name yourself. Just saying.
I mean, you want to get relevance. Hey, don't call me William. Like, who the fuck names a kid William? But that's beside the point. Like, call me the Sick Ripper. What? You ain't even got enough bodies under your belt to be called the Sick Ripper. More like the... Never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. I was gonna say something more like the wannabe Ripper, but
yeah,
we'll leave it at that because I'm not gonna go. We'd probably get kicked off if I was. But no, and just you go as far as to name yourself to get reputation. You killed women. Boo-hoo. You slept with one. It's her dead body and called her baby. Like, she's dead. She ain't gonna talk back.
Right.
Like, that's...
That was so
yeah, that was just real sick. But his victimology is fairly simple. He goes from addicts. The only thing I don't understand is how Joy, she went missing in October of 2003, but was not reported until March of 2004. So basically...
Yeah, I have a lot of questions with her disappearance.
So almost, basically 6 months?
How could you go missing for 6 months and nobody...
And how you gonna plan a birthday party for somebody you ain't seen in 6 months? Or talked to?
Hers has me baffled.
Yeah, hers is a little suspect. Yeah, a little bit suspect. And this says, on November 17th of 2017, Howell was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences after pleading guilty to the murders of Cossack, Martinez, Minyard, Gonzalez, I don't know, Camelini, and Roberts. He cried and apologized to the families of the victims during sentencing, calling his actions monstrous, cowardly, and selfish. He told the courts that he deserved the death penalty, which was abolished by Connecticut Supreme Court in 2015. I mean, he offered. You might as well just let him.
Well, and that's the only reason he offered. Was because he knew he wouldn't get it.
I mean...
Because he knew that the death penalty was off the table at that point.
But, I mean, if they're going to offer it, at this point, it's not a waste of time. See, that's what I don't understand. He was from Hampton, Virginia. It's almost like he purposely went to Connecticut to kill because he almost probably knew there was no death penalty if he ever got caught.
Yeah.
But in 2003, I guess, when he was killing, the death penalty might have been still there. It's just it was ruled in 2015 to change. So he's just... I mean, he offered it. You might as well take the trash out. I mean, it's not like...
Yeah.
So we have 7 victims. He murdered them, strangled them, and then slept with one's dead body because it was too cold.
Yeah, and
So he must not have really lived anywhere. He must have stayed in his van a lot.
unless he started staying in his van so he could be close to her.
But the smell of a dead body, like, how do you...
If it was cold, it would have cut down.
Well, I mean, it would have cut down the smell, but there's still a distinctive smell. Especially, like, your body relieves itself after death. So, like, did he clean her up?
But the thing is, he's a sick fuck. So, he...
Probably got off on the smell.
Well, he probably got used to the smell.
I could see that. But I just don't... We can contemplate on how sick this individual really is, but what I don't understand is how he moved fast. Like, all his killings were done by 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah. I'm fairly certain 2004. All of his killings were done. So, like, he moved fairly quickly. Like, he wasted no time. Like, where were the cops at? How did they not catch the pattern?
I mean, they probably knew the pattern. They just didn't know.
No, I really don't even think they put an investigation down because besides the 23-year-old, they were all either addicts or recovering addicts. And in most of these cases that we've done, we can honestly say that sex workers and addicts don't get the same recognition as a regular person from a good neighborhood.
Right.
They probably just assumed all these girls were runaways. The one girl wasn't even reported missing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't even reported missing at that point. So he had good victimology, though. It was all over the place, but he picked the ones that people wouldn't miss. So therefore is how I see it. Had he went for younger, like teenage girls or girls from good gated communities,
yeah,
he probably would have got caught a lot faster. But I just don't know how they I didn't really find how they connected him. Not any hard evidence. Like, they found the bodies, yeah, but how did we get connected to him? DNA?
Yeah, like, that's what I don't understand. It went from him not even being on the radar to just...
Straight on the radar.
Straight on the radar and convicted.
Yeah, so the thing is
I mean, did he just brag to the wrong person? And the person say something?
I don't know.
I mean...
Oh, it says right here, police... Okay, so I must have missed that part. It says right here, police found DNA matches in his murder mobile linking him to the string of murders.
Oh, okay.
After
gotcha.
finding a blood match to missing women, and then it lists, like, Nielsa, authorities charged Howell with her murder, even though they hadn't recovered all of her body. So that makes sense. So DNA is how they linked him. I don't know how I missed that. So they must have found his van and then linked him because they took the van as evidence because of the manslaughter he got charged on.
Oh, gotcha.
And then they probably just found all the blood spatters and then linked them to the missing women. But I'm glad that in this case they categorized the transgender woman. They used her name. They didn't use the government name.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, she's getting recognition even though William got more than he bargained for. But,
So it's a good thing that they didn't dead name her.
yeah. I'm not properly terminology on that one. But, yeah,
Right.
they didn't dead name her. They gave her that recognition. But that's not the first serial killer, though, that's picked up a transgender woman. We did another one. What was it? Junior. Oh, what was his name? Because he was in the military and stuff. I can't think of it. But
I
you know who
I know who
about.
you're talking about. I just cannot remember his name.
Because we did that case, and he didn't get charged for it, but he was suspected of doing the same thing, picking her up.
Oh yeah, he was a couple episodes back.
Yeah, picking her.
He's not too far.
No, picking her up and then dumping her outside the base that he was stationed at because he once again got more than he bargained for. But here's the thing, guys. If you're picking up sex workers, we can't guarantee what's underneath their skirt.
Right.
And even if what's under their skirt is not what you're paying for, boot them out the door. Don't kill them. Don't kill, period. But, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be mean. But, no, he's just your atypical douchebag with no brain cells. Clearly.
Yeah, he's definitely different.
Well, yeah, because most of the serial killers that we read about, they have a high IQ. Clearly, he did not have a high IQ.
Most of the killers that we have covered so far, they've had something leading up to it. You know what I mean? Like, they've had a shitty childhood. They've been sexually abused. They've been whatever. This guy just seems to be killing to kill.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to be a dick and a shitty person.
I mean, there's usually a backstory, but there's really not. He wasn't he didn't really... I wouldn't say he had a bad... he was basically just out there doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. He was just out there doing what he wanted to do.
That's what I'm saying. Most of them that we've covered so far has had some sort of reason. Like,
maybe he had mommy issues.
They haven't had a reason why, because there's never a reason to kill. But, well, they've had some sort of...
I wouldn't say there's never a reason
some
to kill.
sort of trigger, I should say.
There's just never a reason to be a serial killer.
Touche.
Just because you think about it doesn't mean you should act on it.
Right.
These fools just act on it for the pleasure. And we can spark the debate. Are you born a serial killer? Are you raised a serial killer? Would those things trigger you to become a serial killer? I just waste a sperm cell, apparently.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Waste a sperm cell. I mean, shit. It could take forever, but... Alright, guys. That's going to be a wrap on this week's episode. Once again, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Heather.
Make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay tuned in to next week's episode. We are on YouTube, Spotify. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, and we are working on getting a Tickety Talk up and running. And by we, I mean she's working on that. So once again, hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.